Hi, I'm Cathy from Absolutely Fabulous at Home, and I wanted to talk to you today about kids' games. Kids' games are so important, not just for the kids, but for the mothers, fathers, parents, grandparents, anybody who plays with kids. Their board games teach kids so much about taking turns, about fair play, strategies, all kinds of things. Cheating. Oh no, wait a minute, that's my dad. But we just wanted to show you some of the old-fashioned games we have here at the store. Shut the Box is a great game. You can play that by yourself. You can play it with other people. Traditional games. Snakes and ladders. Who doesn't love a good game of snakes and ladders? I don't think that there's a 5-year-old in the world who doesn't want to play this. Mind you, they don't want to go down the snakes. They mostly just want to go up the ladders. But still, it's a fun game. Great family game. Checkers and chess. So both of those are in this one because, of course, the board is the same. So you can play checkers when you're maybe younger, and then you can teach chess as you get older. And you're thinking, oh, I don't know how to play chess. How am I going to teach it? We have the game for that. We have the kids' book and set of learning how to play chess. Now, my dad taught me how to play chess when I was probably about 12, and I think it was because he didn't have anybody else to play with. I didn't win very much, but it's a great strategizing kind of game, and you do learn an awful lot. Traditional game. Who doesn't like this? The marbles that wobble all over the place that you try to get from your square or your triangle over to the other side. Great family game, and of course the marbles are stored inside so that you don't have to lose them and chase them all over the floor. Very traditional game. Along with Tiddlywinks, Skill Ball. Now, this one I gave to my grandson last year. You have to flick the marbles and you have to try to get them into the right hole and count your points. The most fun is just flicking the marbles. Dominoes. Another great game. And again, all of these games have a little component of learning that goes along with the playing. With dominoes, you're counting. You've got to match numbers or shapes or sizes or something. That's all part of how kids learn. That's why board games and other games are so important. We loved pickup sticks when we were little. This was a fun game. You could just keep this in the car, and anytime you were stuck somewhere waiting, you could have a game of pickup sticks right on the floor. We have, speaking of card games, we have little games that are in sets for travel. Snakes and ladders, dominoes, chess, tanagram, mini chess. All kinds of fun things. These would be games for kids who are a little bit older. So I'm going to say you're probably starting most of these games when you are maybe 5 or 6, where you really begin to understand the strategy of playing a game. But we have games for younger children too. Shilling is a toy company that's bought the rights to a lot of the old-fashioned games, the games that I grew up knowing as a kid or you grew up knowing as a kid. And the thing about Shilling is they've decided to bring the play back into play. There are no batteries. There's nothing you have to plug in or hook up. These are just games you play or toys you play with. That's very important to them as a company, which is why they've bought the rights to a lot of what we would consider old-fashioned toys, like the paddle boat. It's just a rubber band and a couple of pieces of wood, and the paddle wraps around the rubber band. Just keep wrapping it, and let it go. It'll shoot across the bathtub or a puddle or a pool. It's just so much fun, and it's something that little ones can do. You can see it's about a 4-year-old classic toy. The same idea with the floating ball. How come it floats? Because when you blow air through, you're creating a little cushion that pushes it up. There's nothing funnier than trying to watch a 4-year-old do this and keep that ball balanced. This one, the balloon-powered car. Again, a balloon goes on top. It shoots, the air from the balloon is forced out the back of the car, and the car scoots across. Any balloon will work, so it comes with a balloon, but when that one gets lost or popped, away you go. A great toy for little kids. Classic toys. These have little BBs in them. And I cannot tell you how many adults we see standing down here trying to get all those BBs into the little holes, the little pockets. And it is a skill testing game. You have to have steady hands. There's so many different themes. The space one, the ball field, an octopus, mini golf. But great little games for skill and attention, because you've got to really pay attention to do this. It takes a little bit of work. Another classic, the mini pinballs. Remember these? So you've got all your little BBs down here, and you let her rip and try to get your points. Another one that surprisingly takes more skill than you might think. But in terms of classic toys, the kaleidoscope. How many of us remember looking through these when we were a kid and looking at all the patterns? We have pop toys. It scares me every single time. It's so much fun. We have, remember these? The Viewmaster? The old-fashioned way of looking at a series of pictures? Little kids love these things. They can control them. They don't have to wait for mom and dad to turn them on or set up a password. These are just fun things for kids to do. And then there's one more age group we need to look at. So this age group, I'm going to say, some of the skills you could do, probably 3, but 3 to 5 years old. The last group of toys is for the little ones. And honestly, who didn't own some of these Fisher-Price toys when you were a kid? The CNC, just so much fun. You turned it around, it gave you what the cow said, it gave you what the frog said. You have to wind it up to do that, which I'm not going to take it out of the box to do that, but a classic toy for little kids. And one of our best sellers, the puppy. He just goes along. He's called Little Snoopy. He's pulled along, and as he's going, his ears flap and his tail wags. There is not a 2-year-old who doesn't think that that is a fun thing to do. Their own puppy. And the telephone. Now, the funniest thing about this one, most kids don't even know what that is. They've never seen a telephone. But they intuitively will pick that up, listen to Grammy calling or Mommy calling. They will dial. They can pull it around. It has a little cord, so and it's on wheels. Another classic game and a classic toy. Little kids love these things. And while this is not a Fisher-Price, it's an awfully fun toy. He builds a domino. So he's got this little train goes chugging along, and as he goes along, he places dominoes, and then you can just let them all go. It's so much fun, and it's much easier for a little one to set up dominoes using a train than it is to set them up one at a time in a pattern that won't fall down as soon as they move. Just some fun things for kids to do. Not counting the dolls, not counting all of the other things we have. These are games and toys that are classics, tried and true, that your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, neighbors, anybody you know with little kids would thoroughly enjoy playing with, and you'll enjoy playing with them.